If you're really loving all the vintage shells and the vintage swans that are all over social media at the moment, then you're going to love today's video. Welcome back to today's tutorial. If you haven't been here before, my name is Sharon, and today I'm going to talk you through arranging flowers in a vintage shell. Now, if you're like me and you've been arranging for a while, then you'll be really familiar with this style of container, which I think dates back to the 60s. But you might want to correct me in the comments. Now, today I'm going to be using wire netting. You could use floral foam, and you just need to adapt the shape of the arrangement to suit the foam. But I'm going to be using wire netting and some water, which is probably the way we would have arranged in them way back then. I've already placed some wire netting into my container, but if we look at it, it's very loose. And the minute I start adding flowers, the wire netting in the base is going to start moving around. So if you've not used chicken wire or wire netting before, and you're really not sure what you're doing wrong, that might be one of the first issues. You need to have the wire netting wedged into the container so it's not going to move around. So I'm going to go with a slightly bigger piece. Having prepared this, I do now think this might be a bit too large. You also need to consider the size of the holes. If you've got big stems, then you need big holes in your wire netting. If you've got smaller flowers like me, then ideally you want to push that wire netting a bit closer together to accommodate the stems. But I think that is much better. You could then use floral tape over the top to hold it into position, but then you're introducing a single-use plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a rose stem crisscrossed into the base to hold, that's a little bit too long, to hold my wire netting into place. So what we really want to do is get it under that sort of lip there and into the base. And I think I'm going to go crossways. So what you're looking to do is really wedge in that stick across the top. If you want to do the same as I am, just take a little bit of the stem off each time so that you know it's going to be really securely wedged. I think we need to go a bit shorter again, and that will prevent the floral foam. Oh, we haven't got floral foam. It'll prevent the wire netting from moving around. That now is quite secure. My design today is quite lightweight and quite airy, so I'm hoping that's going to be secure enough. And then I'm going to top it up with some water. So spent stems, pieces of willow, anything that you might have hanging around in the garden works really nicely to hold your mechanics into place. And I believe it's a Japanese technique. So if you've studied Ikebana, you will know more about it than me. But that's going to work really nicely. And because it's green, it's going to blend in with my flowers. Now I'm thinking that I'm going to go slightly higher over here, but keep my flowers quite compact because I don't want to hide the shell. And before I get the height, I'm going to add in some Alchemilla Mollis. It's a really limey, zesty colour down at the base. This is going to help hide my mechanics. It's also going to give me that little bit of extra body and weight at the bottom. It's going to prevent my flowers from sliding around, hopefully, when I insert them in. And if you haven't got the Alchemilla Mollis, which is a garden greenery, then you could use gyp or you could use foliage. This one has a bit of extra length on it, so I'm going to bring that up a bit taller. Now, Alchemilla Mollis is a garden foliage, and everything I've got in today's design, apart from one flower, and I haven't decided that I'm definitely going to use that yet, has come from my garden. So it's a pleasure for me today to be able to use things that I've grown. It is middle of June, so it's an indication of what you could grow if you're in the UK or a similar climate. And I know a lot of people don't like the Alchemilla Mollis because it does self-seed pretty much everywhere. So the pieces I've got in so far are quite short. I'll top the design up with water at the end to make sure that any short stems are reaching the water. But there's been no real technical skill in what I've done. I've just really based the design to give me coverage of my wire netting. This is also called recession because it will draw your eye downwards and it gives some base weight at the bottom. Gyp, foliage, September flower, anything bushy like that is going to work just as well. But it's not covering the decorative element of my shell. Now, if you're part of the members channel, you would have seen me talk through scale, which is really important for this arrangement because it's quite small and dainty. And I was absolutely convinced that I picked 2 snapdragons from the garden. It's a really vibrant yellow, and they've come up in an area where the yellow colour didn't really suit the rest of the planting. So I cut both of them. Can I find the other one? No, I can't. I've got no idea where it's gone. So we've only got 1 snapdragon. But what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to start low and then I'm going to work my way up. What I find works better with the wire netting is that if you start at the bottom, I'm just going to go a bit shorter. If you start at the bottom, the more stems that we place in down low create that sort of cushioned effect, like a grid effect to hold all the higher flowers into place. If we start trying to get this flower in straight away, it's going to move, it's not going to stay. I couldn't have done that if I tried. Look at that. What I was going to say is it's not going to stay in the position that you want it to go because it's going to slide around in the holes of the wire netting. This one is an allium. And these have grown really nicely in my garden this year. They're in tubs. I think I'm going to transplant them into the garden next year. But if we look from overhead, what I've tried to do is this sort of triangular effect again, rather than matching pieces on either side. And I'm going to start with my bigger sort of rounder flowers towards the base before I start creating too much height. And at the moment it's facing you, so I might have to move a few things around. Don't worry if things move, just pull them up and slightly adjust. I've also got a Santini chrysanthemum, which is a little miniature chrysanth. And I'm going to use this up because it's the only single stem that I've got left from a previous job. And this one is going to stay quite low. I think we're going to go a bit shorter actually. And I'm going to bring that towards the sort of base focal sort of area. And I have aimed this one upwards. We don't want to tilt everything forward. I think one of the mistakes a lot of beginner flower arrangers make is that they angle everything forward, and an arrangement is 3-dimensional. You should be able to see it from the front, from the top, and from the back. We don't angle everything forward. It's going to give the impression that it's going to tip out of the container. That one needs to be a bit shorter. It gives the impression if you angle everything forward, it's going to tip forward. And it also means that the design becomes unbalanced and then unstable. So I've got a really beautiful selection of garden greenery plus that chrysanthemum, all small and delicate to match my container. I've nearly covered all of the wire netting from the bottom. I'm just going to add some of the Nigella. So this is self-seeded in the garden, and I'm going to use the taller pieces up high, but I need to connect, I need to connect the colour. So let's get a few of those in before we extend the height. This is a really lovely style of arranging, particularly if you've got children or young grandchildren coming to stay, because you don't have to overthink the style of the arrangement. You can be quite relaxed and put a little bit of wire netting into the bottom of a container and just sit back and enjoy. We haven't got to worry about the foam being toxic and not good for the environment. We can be really playful and enjoy. So we've got a base covering, blues, yellows and the whites. The whites are going to help connect with my container, and the blue introduces a cooler colour to calm down that really vibrant yellow. I think I decided that that was going to be the front, although it does look really nice from both sides. And I'm now wondering, should I go? I think I'm slightly changing my mind. I think there's more of the shell visible from that side. That was going to be my front, but I think this works better. So I think you could quite easily do this as a rounded arrangement in the middle, but I'm going to extend the height up, but not bring anything over the edge because we don't want to hide that container. That container is really pretty. So we've come high with a bit of yellow. Let's continue now with some blue. And that's really, I think, as tall as I'm going to go. So if you think about the length of the shell, we measure it with one of the evening primrose. That's about the same length as the container. That will give you an idea of creating that sort of 1-to-1 proportion. So we've gone the same height as the longest part of my container. Could we get away with creating a little bit more height? Probably, but I'm going to keep it dainty and delicate to really keep in connection with my container. That one is a little bit too far forward in the arrangement. I'm going to bring this more towards the back and in line with that nigella. So this lovely yellow flower here is the ornithera, or the evening primrose. This grows really nicely in the garden and it's like a herbaceous perennial, so it comes back every year. And then the blue flower is the nigella. And this year, this one has self-seeded, so I haven't had to plant it or grow it from seed. It's quite happily reproduced in the garden all on its own. And I'm really going to connect the blue colour on the top with the blue colouring that we've placed at the bottom. And if you think about the shape that I've created, it's almost like a horn shape, so that it looks as if something's emerging up out of the shell, and it's a really natural and organic shape. I don't think we need a huge amount of flowers in here because it's really delicate. And what's important to remember with this arrangement is scale. If we add flowers that are too big, too heavy, too sort of cumbersome, it's really going to take away from that delicate nature of the container. And if you're a real fan of vintage floral design and using locally grown flowers, then this style is just perfect. And even though you can buy these containers new from a lot of florist supplies, you can definitely pick them up from your charity shops and from second-hand shops as well. So really quite pretty. Now then, this one I'm going to thin out so we don't have such a heavy head. And don't be scared about thinning flowers out. Don't think you're wasting them by cutting them down, because you can always use shorter pieces down here at the base. Now what I think this design is lacking at the moment is some white colouring up the top here. I've got plenty of white at the bottom. That gives me a good connection with the bottom. So now I can go in with my two taller alliums, and I'm going to try and use the curve, the natural curve, to follow the curve that I've created with those few little pieces. And you can really see, because I created that solid base, I made sure that my chicken wire wasn't going to move around, and then I used the greenery to create a sort of grid effect at the bottom. Everything that I'm placing in is secure and is not moving around. And then I'm just going to finish with a few pieces of Tanacetum or Feverfew. This one I've grown myself. In fact, everything in this arrangement, I'm very proud. I think I need a big clap in the comment section. Everything in this arrangement I've grown from seed, and I've been desperate to use the Tanacetum, but it hasn't quite grown long enough for me to cut. So I'm really pleased that I get to use it today. Clean stems on the bottom, because we're arranging into water, and we don't want to contaminate and add bacteria to the bottom. And then I'm going to feed through some really delicate pieces, following the natural curves and the shapes that the flowers have grown in the garden. Now if you're buying this from a more professional flower farm, or you're buying it from the flower auction, then it is going to be much straighter than this, and you're not going to get quite so many curves. And I've really tried to emphasize the curves of the flowers by placing them in so they exaggerate their shape. This sort of style of arranging is much better for those curvy flowers from the garden. We don't want them rigid like those supermodels. We want a little bit of curve, a little bit of up and down movement. And this now is adding that nice frothy, whimsical look that really suits this style of arranging. This is just gorgeous. If I had a book, I think this would be on the front cover because it would be so jolly and pretty to look at. Now I've added the daisy tanacetum here and here. I've got to make sure that there's also some at the front, otherwise we're going to have two placements that don't link together, and that's really what we're trying to do with a traditional arrangement like this. What we have at the height, we try and bring in on the lower part of the arrangement, and what we have on the left, we try to bring on to the right. And you'll notice that with the snapdragon, I only had one of them, so he's curved nicely into the shape, but he's not standing out all alone as if he doesn't have a friend to accompany him. If I had the other one, which has completely disappeared, I would add it here to give me a bit of extra height. And I'm just thinking, in this area here, I need to have another blue nigella. These, and the quality on these, considering they're from my garden, they are so strong. I'm really chuffed to bits with those. So that's I think my final flower. Sometimes I get to step back and think, well, I could do with something else. And I do have one head of the nigella left, so I'm just going to pop that over there, feed that in, and then the colour is brought all the way down. I'm going to slightly drop that one so it's a little lower down, and really what the blue colouring is doing is curving quite nicely over the front. Now if you've come to this channel to learn floristry that we do from a commercial point of view, then this design might not be your favourite, but it's something different to look at, and I think it's so pretty and really delicate, and you can just imagine this sitting on a mantelpiece in some beautiful stately home. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so. Hit that notification bell to be told every time I upload a new tutorial. And stay to the end of the video because there are close-ups of the individual flowers and the finished design. If you want to learn more in-depth floristry and flower arranging, then join the membership side of the channel. It's just £8.99 a month and you get loads more information and lots of behind the scenes videos. So thank you as ever for watching. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.